Hi folks, my name's Lordy and I'm from the vaporsden.com, which is where my nickname comes from. This is my first vaping review that I'm going to put online, and today I'm reviewing this little beauty that I received from charliesvapeshop.com. It is the Dream Telescopic mechanical mod. First review, I'm still trying to get used to which way is left and which way is right. But as you can see, it's a very nice looking item. First impression, it's a little bit weighty actually compared to the other telescopic I've got, but that's not really much of a comparison to this thing. So let's take a little look and see what you get for your money. So here we are then, in for a closer look. The telescope action, as you can see, probably doing this the wrong way here. As you can hear from the threads are actually really good. I'm going to put this on a couple of different batteries so that you can see what sort of dimensions you end up at. But the threading is, as you can see, hopefully see, is really good. There's no knurling. It's pretty buttery in terms of action. Really good quality, and that's not just on this component here that I'm showing you, but actually throughout the device. So whilst I've got it off here, I'll show you the top cap, and I don't know whether this video is going to pick it up properly. I'll rotate it and see if you can see it. But you can see that when they've been polishing this thing up, in fact it's this edge right here, they've just polished a little bit too hard on the one corner, and it's a tiny manufacturing error. And to be honest, for me, I'm not that fussed by that kind of thing. For me, if it's a quality item and it works, then I'm happy, but the anal amongst you might take exception. As you can see, it's a standard 510 connector going down the middle, and you've got these three machined channels put into the device to make sure that it's going to always get enough airflow. On the side of the top cap, as you can see, there's these nice machined little dimples in there. It's a small style feature, but when you've got something that's this minimalist in terms of the aesthetic at least, it really lifts the device. It gives it a nice little touch. The other thing that I like about this that I've not had on a device before is that the center pin is actually adjustable. So unlike other ones that I've had where you just have to live with the gap and you pay your money, you take your choice, with this one you can actually put any device you like flush onto the top. Just do this back up until you've got a nice subtle soft contact and you're away, you're happy. Now I thought that's something that would be really good for me, but actually very recently I've found a real love affair with Genesis devices. And the one thing that I will say with the Genesis is you can get your device flush, but what's a real pain is, and maybe it's just going to take me a little bit time to get used to, but this is the first time that I've had a side button at the back of the device, and so when you're trying to keep the mesh wick at the bottom and keep it tilted and everything else, all those other kind of little rituals you have to go through with the Genesis, to be honest, I'd much rather have a little bit of a gap at the top and be able to tilt it so that I've kind of got my pinky on this button. It's just more comfortable to use. The other extreme, of course, is just having it so that that sort of pushes into the palm of the hand. Either for me are equally comfortable. But yeah, the flush fit, it's nice. If you use normal cartomizers, any other type of device really that you don't have to keep tilted with a mesh wick in, then it's a nice feature. It's purely an aesthetic thing, but for me it's something that I didn't really think through before I got it. The firing button has got a good little lock on there. Some people might say that's a few too many turns. The other thing is that the button itself, if you're holding it in the palm of your hand, the edges on the bolt perhaps aren't the most comfortable things in the world, but to me small details. The thing that matters the most to me when going for a mechanical is, we all know about the legislation coming on both sides of the pond, and I want something that no matter what might happen, I'm going to be able to stay on top of it, do any little fixes that might need to be done, and just keep the whole thing going really. I'm just undoing the bottom cap here, and as you can see, you've got this kind of reversed out spring coil which keeps the battery snugly in place. Not really a lot more I can say about this really. The only other thing that for me, it's not even really a problem, but to me it's logical when you're changing batteries and stuff to just take the bottom off and put all of the batteries through on the bottom. But as you could probably see if I hold the device up there, the way that this connects with the battery, I've got to be honest, I'm not even sure how that works technically, but that pushes in too far for you to be able to get the battery in and out. So when you're changing batteries between charges and all the rest of it, you can either spend forever working your way down the threads with this top part, and as you can see there's a lot of threading. If you've got it in 18350, that's a lot of work. Or you're always changing from the top end connector. Again, it's a small detail, and for a lot of people that kind of thing wouldn't matter, and I'm sure that in time I'll get used to it, but it just feels a bit weird if you've not had a device similar to this before. Some things that some people will appreciate: 18350 battery. I know that there's a few devices like this on the market where when you've got your battery fitted and you twist the device up properly together, some people complain that you get a bit of a gap between the fatter bottom end, the fatter top end, and of course the slightly squished bit in the middle. But this, with an 18350, it screws right up. It's a really nice fit. Bottom button fires, you know, everything works as it should. 18350 mode. This thing's taking forever. I might actually cut a little bit of that out. 18650 mode. Again, once it's all screwed together, to me that's it's a nice size. I mean, if I put it in the palm of my hand there, it'll give you a little bit of an impression. There's not really much either end of the battery that's going to add to the overall length. So anyone that worries about carrying around a lightsaber or anything like that, there's no worries. It's a nice, compact little mod. Left and rights again. You know, I can shake it, I can twist it. It's not really, you know, the battery's got no movement in it when it's all together. If I try and twist side to side, you could probably hear that. There's a little bit of movement, not a lot, but I'm having to give it, you know, quite a firm amount of pressure to get that to happen. So when you're just holding and just using the device like you normally would, as opposed to analysing every detail when you're trying to review it, yeah, it's a really nice quality item. You can see the vent holes around the bottom there. You can also see these little details. Can you see that? Yeah. These little details are repeated on the bottom cap as they are on the end cap. Aesthetically, for me, that hits the spot. I really like it. If I could show you my other telescopic for a comparison, I don't actually have it with me here, so I can't. But compared to other telescopics I've had, a cheaper one, Tobacco is in fact the name of it now that I think of it. The telescopic aspect has got little air holes that run down the side of the device, and you can see the battery poking through. It means that it's lighter. It's lighter as a device than this, if that kind of thing bothers you. But aesthetically, I like this solid stainless look. The other thing as well is, compared to the Tobacco has actually got a chamfered edge on it. So if you like a flush fit with your big Genesis style devices, you don't get that with the Tobacco. This is really nice. I mean, this is a Arga T I've got here. As you can see, it's pretty much the same diameter. It's perhaps about half a mil in it either side, a mil overall. But I really like that flush fit. It's nice, it's good. I've just got myself an Aggie as well, which is going to be the next review I do in a few minutes. Just actually take it out of the packaging so that you can see now. The finish is slightly different. You've got more of a polish on the Aggie compared to this. In fact, I'm going to have to adjust that centre pin to get this one to fit properly. So what I do, everyone does things differently of course, is just back it right off. Screw the device up, and then literally just take the centre pin up so that it's just finger tight. So again, you can see that that's a nice flush fit. I think it looks very nice. So there you go. Not really sure what else I can say about this. I guess the only thing left to do now is take a vape. So there you go. It's my first review over. I just thought I'd watch back what I've got in the can. It's a first review, it's a first attempt, so just a small detail. When I said knurling on the threads, I know it's not knurling. What I meant was imperfections. It's really nicely threaded. Right, okay, I'm just going to vape this thing. This is the Argon there, pretty empty tank. What can I say about the way that it vapes? I'm not going to be making myself any friends when I say this, and I might well get quite a lot of criticism, and I'm probably not going to get manufacturers sending me stuff to test. But I see mechanicals, I see... What can you say? It's a device with two electronic ends that send charge through to your ATI. What could possibly go wrong? I haven't owned any expensive devices to be able to say that there's any kind of difference in the current that comes through to what I'm using right now. All I can say is, compared to the cheapo that I had before, I can't tell the difference. But that's not why you buy a decent mechanical mod. You buy a decent mechanical mod because it's going to last a long time, because it's going to last a long time. What else can I say? I've got no complaints whatsoever. No complaints at all. This is a pretty empty tank, as you can see. I'm just going to take another vape on it for you. Vape's pretty good. I'm going to dispel another myth right now for anyone that's not bothered trying to put a video review together. I'm not saying you've not bothered. Shame on you. I'm just saying that... I'm saying. Don't know what I'm saying. I'm just going to put on a little ego adapter and put on an EVOD. This thing is measuring 2.8 ohm resistance, and I'm getting about 4.1 at the moment out of the battery that I've got in here. In terms of vapor production and what you see, what I've realised is just how big a role the lighting plays and the amount of vapor that you see come through. So it's a nice battery holder, it's a versatile battery holder, it's a well manufactured battery holder, and from what I can tell, it's as good as the next. Manufacturing wise, I love the detail on it. I love the aesthetic, I love the overall look. Even with a silly little ego device on the end, I don't think it looks half bad. 18350 mode, just a little bit too dinky for me considering the battery life you get, and I think it looks nice enough even with a big chunky 18650 battery in. I made a mistake at the beginning of the video. I called this the Dream Mechanical Telescopic mod, when in fact it's the Beautiful Telescopic mod, and I would agree with that sentiment. I think it looks gorgeous. It works well. I've got no worries about how long this thing's likely to last. I'm very happy. It cost £49.99 from Charlie's Vape Shop in the UK. Charlie, as a vendor, I've bought a few things from him now, and do you know, on the forum that I'm involved in, that I'm going to promote again, the Vapor's Den, so friendly, so many friendly people. I've not heard anyone have a bad word to say about the service that that guy provides, and even when I've asked anal, stupid questions where, when you're running a business that makes small margins and you just want to get the stuff out the door, a lot of time, if it was me, I'd be thinking, I don't want to bother with him, I just want to sell stuff. And he's always really friendly, always gives you good advice. Couldn't recommend him highly enough. So there you go. I thoroughly recommend it. Cheers now, bye bye.